prepare to get underway. And within 5 minutes, we were on our way out of the harbor, headed for what later was to be known as Normandy. And our duty, our job, was to escort the landing craft that carried the tanks to Green Beach on Utah Beach. That was our assignment. And we were evidently leading from behind because the LCT that was directly ahead of us hit a mine and it blew up. Those that were forward, on the forward part of the deck that saw it, said it looked like that LCT rose up out of the water about 4 feet and then went straight to the bottom, and leaving the water full of dead and dying men. Well, we were right behind them, so the captain cut the engines and we drifted right into the midst of that. I was in the chow room for some reason, the mess hall, and I was headed back forward when I realized that the ship had stopped. And then I looked and saw the bodies in the water. I was not entirely prepared for this, and my knees buckled under me. Now, you've heard of knees buckling. Well, it actually happens. My knees buckled and I would have fallen had it not been for the lifeline that runs around the edge of all the ships. After a few seconds, my training took over, and I got a life ring off the 20 millimeter gun mount, and I saw a soldier, his head was above the water. He was just looking at me. I threw the life ring to him. It hit right in front of him, but he made no effort to grab it. I don't know whether he was in shock, or whether he was paralyzed, or whether in fact he might have been dead with his eyes still open. But his eyes were looking right at me. But he would not grab the life ring, and he slowly sank, went out of sight. But even after he got under the water away, I could still see his eyes looking right at me. I saw no further evidence of life on that side of the ship, so I went to the other side of the ship and saw a soldier who was, his flotation device was working well, but he was hollering for help. And I threw the life ring to him. He grabbed it, and I pulled him to the edge of the ship. I called a shipmate to help me, and we dragged him aboard and got him to a fairly protected place on the deck. Both of his legs were broken and dangling. I went to find the medic. Subchasers do not carry pharmacist mates or medics, so our chief motor machinist was our medic, but all he had was a bag full of little styrettes of morphine, a little tube with a needle and an ounce of morphine in it. He came and cut the trouser legs on the top of each of the thighs of the soldier we had there, put a shot of morphine in each leg, and that's all we could do in the way of medication. While he was doing that, I ran forward to get my blankets off of my bunk to cover the man and try to get him warm. I got to my bunk, my blankets were already gone, so I grabbed the first two that I did see and came back and covered him up. Tried to make him a little bit comfortable as we went to attack transport Dickman. We were ordered to take our survivors. We got 8 soldiers and 1 sailor. We were ordered to take them to the attack transport Dickman to be offloaded and to be tended to. The attack transport had brought their troops to the beach. They went ashore in landing craft, and they were now waiting for the wounded to come back. So we probably brought them their first wounded. After we discharged our wounded, we went back to directing the landing craft. The other sub-chasers in the group had been doing the job for us. There were 7 sub-chasers in the Normandy invasion. We maintained contact by voice radio, mainly, but we did have code names. Each of the 7 sub-chasers was named for a fruit: apple, orange, banana, pear, even pomegranate. And the code name for the group as a whole was fruit basket. So that's how we communicated among the sub-chasers, using code names. But that's about all we did for the rest of D-Day. At one point, we got in so close to the beach that the propellers were turning up mud, and German 88 that was still active somewhere back in the hills was dropping shells in above us, over and beyond us. We don't know whether they were shooting at us and couldn't get the gun barrel defected enough, or whether they were firing at something further out and falling short. But anyhow, I was glad to get back out of range of that. But D-Day ended later. I believe it was about 12:30 when we anchored at the what was the end of the longest day. But we, of course, were tired, sleepy, but that's the way it was. About 3 days after D-Day, an LST, that's the large landing craft, a mine floated into it midships, probably one of those magnetic mines, and it looked like a knife had hit a slice of butter. It cut it in 2. The stern floated off one way and the rear floated off another way until it sank. And all the equipment that was in that slid into the water. And of course later, at night, the Germans would come over and bomb and drop mines, but the only ship I saw sunk by dive bombers was a cargo ship. Evidently it was open at night. Evidently what they were carrying was needed on the beach, so they were unloading at night, and evidently had the hatch open, and a German dive bomber came down and put a bomb right through the hatch, sank it. And I understand that the Meredith, I did not see it, but I understand the destroyer that escorted our column across was sunk at some point. Well, one night we were instructed to go out and pick up a corpse, a body. We found it, which was amazing in the dark. A soldier in full uniform was floating. He'd been in the water some time, of course. We went alongside, and the boatswain mate took a boat hook, hooked it in his belt to bring him to the shore, to the ship where we could pull him aboard. But that was a mistake, because when he pulled on the belt, the body broke in 2, and the feet slowly sank one way, and the torso, the head, sank the other way. So we could not recover the corpse. He'd been in the water too long, and he just disintegrated when they put the boat hook on and tried to pull him. The boatswain mate should have hooked his dog chains, at least his dog tag chains, at least we would have known who he was.
I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. You know, YouTube thinks you'll like the video shown on the right. It's personalized based on your own viewing habits.